Despite more restrictions lifting in England this weekend, international travel is still off the cards.
Well, it's been rumoured for several weeks that the government are planning to reopen borders by agreeing so-called AirBridges with foreign countries. But the longer we wait for an official announcement, it's been put off a couple of times already this week. Does this mean that summer holidays abroad are definitely out of the question this year?
Well, to give us some clarity, we're joined now by our travel expert, Simon Calder. So, Simon, good morning to you. It's lovely to see you. Let's just clear up a few of the simple questions here. What exactly are AirBridges?
Well, that's a term which has been kind of invented by the government as a kind of way of getting rid of its blanket quarantine policy. Let's just remember that at the moment there's a double lock which is designed to prevent you and me going on foreign holidays. And it comprises the Foreign Office advice against all but essential travel. That's been in place since March the 17th. And since June the 8th, there's also been a requirement for anybody coming into the UK from anywhere at all apart from Ireland to go straight home and self-isolate for 2 weeks. And that obviously is going to put people off wanting to go on holiday. And so what we're desperately waiting for, because if I'm not mistaken, it's July, welcome to the second half of the year, and there's millions of people with holidays booked in July and August, desperate to get away. And until the government says, we've got these so-called AirBridge arrangements, deals where you won't need to quarantine in place, nobody knows if they'll be able to go. Now, it was due on Monday, then it was going to be today. Now we think it's tomorrow afternoon, and this is all going to kick off on Monday, the 6th of July. That's when people are due to be going on holiday. The airlines, the travel companies are kind of assuming that it's going to be going ahead. Certainly Spain and France look good. But of course, Greece turned around and said, look, just because you might think that you're deigning to send your tourists to Greece doesn't mean we actually want them to stay out till at least the 15th of July.
OK, all right. Well, one couple who are feeling optimistic are the owners of Hays Travel, John and Irene Hays. They join us now to tell us more. And it is so lovely to see you both this morning.
Morning.
So, with people starting to book again, are you feeling a little bit more optimistic about this summer?
Yeah, we're definitely feeling more optimistic. Ever since the rumours started last week, the number of enquiries and, in fact, some bookings have increased day on day, and we've had a real surge. So if you look at how many bookings we did yesterday relative to the same day last week, we were 52% up.
Wow. You
are getting people who had their holidays cancelled, or their travel cancelled, and have got their refunds, and there's still a lot of people waiting, we know that, but they've got their refunds and they're then coming back to you.
Yeah. Absolutely. People were really disappointed that they couldn't get their holiday. And now that it appears that it's going to be reopened, they're coming back. They had their refund. They're coming back and saying, we want to book again, which is great.
Well, I mean, it's quite an incredible thing you're doing, actually. I mean, Martin Lewis keeps telling us, people will lose money at the moment, that there's no guarantee you'll get your money back. However, you're really reassuring your customers because you're taking a risk in offering 100% refunds on some holidays if customers decide to cancel. I mean, that is at risk to you, isn't it?
Yeah, so we took the decision at the end of March that we really needed to do something. There's two things that our customers are concerned about. First one is the health and safety, and the second is the financial security. So what we decided to do was introduce a peace of mind guarantee on selected holidays. And we've announced that as a direct result of COVID-19. And what that means is that our customers can have a no-quibble guarantee of 100% of whatever they've paid back if they would like to cancel completely, or if they'd like to change the date, as long as they let us know 6 weeks before they're due to travel. And that's just been a really helpful reassurance for people, and it's gone down very, very well.
I'm sure it has. That's because that will have to be in collaboration with hotels and with the airline companies, because we've talked a lot on here about the fact that if you choose to cancel yourself but the holiday goes ahead, then you don't get a refund. But if are you saying that if you choose to cancel and the holiday is still available, that you still get a refund?
Absolutely, yeah. We've done with fairly sizable, and we've negotiated with selected airlines, quite a lot of big airlines, to work with us to offer this guarantee. It's going fantastically well.
Well, we know that the travel industry has been one of the most hardest hit, actually, during all of this. With lots of people losing jobs up and down the country, you're looking at potentially recruiting 1,000 more people. It seems like you're having a totally different experience.
You're in your own bubble.
You really are. How are you doing this? I mean, this is sort of a shining light in the travel industry.
Well, to be perfectly honest, we obviously had the opportunity to take over the Thomas Cook shops in October of last year, and immediately we tried to recruit as many ex-Thomas Cook people as we possibly could, but we didn't get all of them back because some of them had gone and got other jobs. And then we went into the January and February peaks, and we did really, really well, didn't we? And then when we hit March, obviously, and after the Costa Adecchi, the bookings fell off the edge of a cliff. At that point in time, we still didn't have enough people to man the shops, and we froze recruitment. But last week, we decided we would restart recruitment, and we want 315 experienced travel consultants. And the fantastic news is that we're reinstating our apprenticeship scheme for young people. We're really passionate about apprenticeships and Hays Travel, and we're restarting that in autumn of this year. So that'll be good news for 700 young people in their families.
You too. I really love you.
What, just briefly, because we're going to have a quick word with Simon in a moment again, but just briefly, what sort of holidays do you recommend? What are you saying, OK, this is the best holiday to take and this is where you should go?
Well, what's happening is until the last few days, we were quite busy every day. It was getting better and better. About a month ago, we were selling virtually 0 new holidays, but each day it's got more and more. But the vast majority is for winter in 2021, and people are going to their normal destinations. Some of the places, we're selling Bali, New York, paradoxically, for Christmas, and the traditional destinations, and cruise. Cruise is really strong for 2021. So it was further out, but then the last few days, a lot of interest after the hope of the AirBridges coming. People wanting.
It is fascinating. I mean, it does fly in the face. Thank you both very much indeed. It sort of flies in the face of what you would expect to be the case, where on a cruise you perhaps have got older generations, so they would be more vulnerable. They're in a closed space. We saw the disasters on cruise ships at the beginning of the pandemic, and then New York. That's America's got its own major issues now with a huge increase in cases. Simon, what do you make of that deal, those thoughts?
Well, look, it's fantastic that the Hays are being so positive. Travel is the industry of human happiness, and it's really good to see that they are being very innovative and trying to persuade people, give them confidence, and that's what it's largely going to be about. I must say, I'm not as confident as they are that cruising will come back. And all the signs I'm seeing is that people want to be in villas, or at least in self-contained, self-catering accommodation rather than all-inclusives. People used to love all-inclusives, but when you're having to social distance, when you're having table service instead of the usual buffet, it all gets really quite tricky. So I think we're going to see a change in holiday styles. And, cruising, well, who knows when it will come back. It's been far harder hit than any other part of the travel industry. But I'm surprised that they're not seeing a really sharp demand for trips. And I imagine that tomorrow afternoon, if we finally get the news, the phones will be ringing off the hook, as we used to say, because, of course, everyone will suddenly think, right, we can go to Spain, we can go to France.
There are some great deals out there, aren't there? Let's just have a look at you've got some deals here for us that are available now to tempt you.
These are available now. I would very much say go and talk to your friendly local travel agent, because they are the professionals. But I've been having a quick look around this morning. There's some great deals available. 15th of July, going from Liverpool to Mallorca, staying in Santa Ponza, flying on Ryanair, going with On the Beach. That's £153 per person, based on a family of 4 going for a week. That's a ridiculous price for mid-July. The following day, you could fly from Doncaster to Sheffield with Balkan holidays going to Sunny Beach. If Bulgaria is on the list, we won't know that till tomorrow. £283, and that, of course, includes some transfers and baggage as well. And then finally, 5th of August, so right in the middle of the summer holidays for people in England and Wales, Jet2 will take you to Tenerife from Birmingham, and that's going to cost you £259, staying in a perfectly nice self-catering place in Los Cristianos, which for the middle of the school holidays is just unparalleled. And that's a proper package holiday with a proper package holiday company. And of course, the great thing about that is that either you guaranteed a holiday, or if things go wrong and there's another lockdown, you'll get all your money back.
Just, just quickly, Simon, I've got two friends who've gone on holiday. Shouldn't have done, if you're following the guidelines. Went to the airport, perfectly fine. Had a lovely experience in the airport because it was completely empty. Got on the plane, not a very full plane. Got to where they were going, empty beaches, all very lovely. And then, of course, you read stories that if you are prepared to stick your neck out and go against the regulations, that when you get to places like Turkey, you'll be charged £43 for a kebab, £22 for pita bread and £65 to swim in the sea.
Yes, and those stories have been doing the rounds, and of course it always comes back to buyer beware. We've talked in the past of £50 ice creams in Rome and £100 pizzas in Venice. You've got to check the menu. If it's a new place and you don't know it, then if they don't give you a menu with prices on, then be very aware of that. And this was a particular club in Bodrum where they don't actually charge you £65 to swim in the sea. They charge you a day use of £62, which you can then spend on meals and activities and drinks and so on.
Then.
So it's not quite the same as, oh, you want to go for a swim? That's 65 smackers.
Very quickly, finally, what's your reaction to the news that EasyJet, that their plans to close bases in Stansted, Southend and Newcastle, will they be operating from these airports anymore?
No, well, sorry, they will be flying, but only as the sort of return legs. This is terrible news for hundreds of really good EasyJet staff, and of course the other airport workers will be affected. But I'm afraid this is what we're going to see, about a 30% reduction in the scale and the operations of EasyJet. They're moving away from competition, so therefore they're leaving Stansted basically to Ryanair and Jet2, and they're just scaling back their operations. That means for us higher fares and less choice. But of course, my heart goes out to the poor people who will be losing their jobs.
Absolutely. And you can't go to Greece because that's banned us until July the 15th.
The Greeks said, look, even though we're absolutely nailed on to make the green list of places that Brits can go to, doesn't necessarily mean you will be welcome. Give it a couple of weeks. At the moment, if you're flying in from the UK, well, you simply won't be allowed to land until the 15th of July.
Well, let's finally ask John and Irene what they think of what Simon said. You remain positive?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we do remain positive. And I think other countries will be added to the list of 13 or 14 that we sincerely hope we hear about tomorrow afternoon.
I hope so
Well, good luck, both of you. And thank you very much. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.